Rain in the Mountains. Notes from the Himalayas by Ruskin Bond. Read by Dev J. Haldar. For David Davidar, who gave me the concept for this book. Section 1. Once Upon a Mountain Time. Pages from a Journal. Once upon a mountain time. My solitude is not my own, for I see now how much it belongs to them, and that I have a responsibility for it in their regard, not just in my own. It is because I am one with them that I owe it to them to be alone. And when I am alone, they are not they, but my own self. There are no strangers. From Confessions of a Guilty Bystander by Thomas Merton. The trees stand watch over my day-to-day life. They are the guardians of my conscience. I have no one else to answer to, so I live and work under the generous but highly principled supervision of the trees, especially the deodars, who stand on guard, unbending on the slope above the cottage. The oak and the maples are a little more tolerant. They have had to put up with a great deal, their branches continually lopped for fuel and fodder. What would they think, I ask myself on many an occasion? What would they like me to do? And I do what I think they would approve of most. Well, it's nice to have someone to turn to. The leaves are a fresh, pale green in the spring rain. I can look at the trees from my window, look down on them almost, because the window is on the first floor of the cottage and the hillside runs away at a sharp angle into the ravine. The trees and I know each other quite intimately, and we have much to say to each other from time to time. I do nearly all my writing at this window seat. The trees watch over me as I write. Whenever I look up, they remind me that they are there. They are my best critics. As long as I am aware of their presence, I can try to avoid the trivial and the banal. Ramesh, the son of the municipal cleaner, looms darkly in the doorway. He is a stunted boy with a large head, but has wide, gentle eyes. His orange-colored trousers brighten up the surrounding room. What do you want, Ramesh? Newspapers. To sell to the kabaddi? No, for wrapping my school books. Well, take a few. I give him half a dozen old newspapers. The headlines already look meaningless. Sit down and wait for it to stop raining. He sits awkwardly on a mora. And what is your cousin Vinod doing these days? Vinod is a good-looking, ne'er-do-well who seldom does anything apart from hanging around cinema halls. Nothing. Doesn't he go to school? He has stopped going to school. He got a job at 50 rupees a month, but he left after a week. He says he will join the army in September. The rain stops and Ramesh departs. The clouds begin to break up. The sun strikes the steep hill on my left. A woman is chopping up sticks. I hear the tinkle of cowbells. Water drips from a leaking drain pipe. And suddenly, clear and pure, the song of the whistling thrush emerges like a dark, sweet secret from the depths of the ravine. Biju is back from school and is taking his parents' cattle out to graze. He sees me at the window and waves, then grabs his favorite cow Neelu by the tail and tells her to hurry up. Biju is 12, a fair-looking Garhwali boy. His younger sister and brother are pretty children. The father, an electrician, is a rather self-effacing man. The mother is a strong, hard woman. I have watched her on the hillside cutting grass. She has the muscular calves of a man, solid feet and heavy hands, but she is a handsome woman. They live in a rented outhouse further up the hill. Biju doesn't visit me very often. He's rather shy. But one day I looked out of the window and there he was in the branches of the oak tree, smiling at me rather hesitantly. We spoke to each other across the 3 or 4 yards that separate house from oak tree. If I jump, I can land in your tree, I said. And if I jump, I will be in your house, said Biju. Come on then, jump. But he shook his head. He was afraid of me. The tree was safe. He put his arms round the thickest branch and held himself close to it. He looked very right in the tree, as though he belonged there, a boy of the woods, a tree spirit peeping out from a house of glossy new leaves. "Come on, jump! You jump," he said. In the evening, his sister brings the cows home. I meet her on the path above the house. She's only a year younger than Biju, a very bonny girl who's going to be ravishingly beautiful when she grows up, if they don't marry her off too soon. She too has the same timid smile. But if these children are timid of humans, they are not afraid in the forest, and often wander far afield with Nilu the blue cow and others. And S, who is 18 and educated at an English medium private school, wouldn't go alone in the forest if you paid him. But the trees know their own. They will cherish the spirits and frighten the daylight out of the tame. The whistling thrush is here, bathing in the rainwater puddle beneath the window. He loves his spot. So now, when there is no rain, I fill the puddle with water, just so that my favorite birds keep coming. His bath finished, he perches on a branch of the walnut tree. His glossy blue-black wings glitter in the sunshine. At any moment, he will start singing. Here he goes. He tries out the tune, whistling to himself, and then, confident of the notes, sends his trilling, full-throated voice far over the forest. The song dies down, trembling, lingering in the air. Starts again, joyfully, and then suddenly stops, as though the singer had forgotten the words of the tune. Vinod, the ne'er-do-well, turns up with a friend, asking me to give them some work. They want to go to the pictures, but have no money. "You can dig up this slope below the house," I tell them. "The soil is good for growing vegetables." This sounds too much like hard work for Vinod, who says, "We'll come and do it tomorrow." "No, we'll do it now," says his more enterprising friend, and to my surprise, they set to work. Now and then I look out of the window. They are digging away with fair enthusiasm. After about half an hour, Vinod keeps sitting down for short rest, to the increasing irritation of his partner. They are soon snapping at each other. Vinod looks very funny when he sulks, because he has a snub nose. And somehow a snub nose and a ferocious expression only reminds me of Richmal Crompton's William. But the work gets done by evening, and they are quite pleased with their earnings. Biju is right at the top of a big oak. The branches sway to his movement. He grins down at me and waves. The higher he is in the tree, the more confident he becomes. It is only when he is down on the ground that he becomes shy and speechless. He has allowed the cows to wander, and presently his mother's deep voice can be heard calling, "Nilu, Nilu." The other cows don't have names. And then, where is that wretched boy? Sir Edmund Gibson has come up. He spends the summer in the big house just down the road. He is wheezing a lot and says he has water in his lungs, and who wouldn't at the age of 86? "Ruskin, my advice to you," he says, "is never to live beyond the age of 80. Well, once ought to be enough, sir. He's a big man, but not as red in the face as he used to be. His Gurkha manservant, Tirlok, has to push him up the steep slope to my gate. Sir Edmund was once the British resident in the Kathiawar states. He knew my parents in Jamnagar when I was just 5 or 6. He's a bachelor and is looked after by his servants. His farm at Ramgarh doesn't make any money, and he will probably give it to his retainers. When Sir Edmund was resident, he was once shot at from close range by a terrorist. The man took 4 shots and missed every time. He must have been a terrible shot, or perhaps the pistol was faulty, because Sir E presents a very large target. He also treasures 2 letters from Mahatma Gandhi, which were written from prison. "I liked Gandhi," says Sir E. He had a sense of humor. No politician today has a sense of humor. They all take themselves far too seriously, but not Gandhi. He took his work seriously, but not himself. When I went to see him in prison, I asked him if he was comfortable, and he smiled and said, "Even if I was, I wouldn't admit it." Sir E.'s servant brings tea, but there isn't any milk. I think I have exhausted Biju's supply. Now it's dusk, and the trees are very still, very quiet. Far away, I can hear the chuck-chuck-chuck of a nightjar. The lights on Landau Hill come on one by one.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?